Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. On this video, we're going to be talking about Mr. Wrestling 2. And actually, we're going to go back in time to our Facebook page on May 1st, 2019, and look at what people had to say about Mr. Wrestling 2. Jack, probably one of the greatest masked men of all time.
Without a doubt.
Rodney?
Yeah, the greatest masked man of all time. You
go, the greatest.
I said
the
time. Greatest.
Well, let's look at some
of all time.
Of all time.
That's right.
Folks, we're already into about 2.5 hours of doing these videos right now. So if you say something,
there is absolutely no alcohol involved.
All right, let's see what people said. We're going to back in time, May 1st, 2019. Let's see what our insiders had to say about Wrestling 2. Michael Tucker said, one of my all-time favorites. I'll agree with Michael Tucker. Rodney?
Yes. Yeah, well, he was our hero as we were growing up, in Georgia. Whether it was against the Spoiler, which was like he was against the greatest monster that's ever been, or the Superstar, or Dick Slater. I mean, it was always an event with him.
Odell Williams Jr. said he was the best wrestler of his time.
Oh, yeah. In Georgia, it came to the point, Dad was saying this when it was at a point that if you didn't have Wrestling 2 on the card in Georgia, you didn't have a house. He was the only thing drawing, and you had to have Wrestling 2 on the card if you wanted to draw anything.
Wrestling 1 and 2 against the Minnesota Wrecking Crew was always good to watch.
Oh, awesome matches.
Jack, did you ever see any of their matches?
Yeah, I saw them. I pulled up some on YouTube and watched. Yeah, good stuff.
Man, these guys could be they could wrestle. Also, James Hatmaker said the matches against Dick Slater and Bob Orton Jr. were great. Marion James Reese said Mr. Wrestling 1 and 2 when they wrestled the Assassins was great. Match 2 1. Or I don't even know what that means. I told you we've been doing this for about 2 minutes. The Assassins, Wrestling 1 and 2. A lot of times when you talk about Wrestling 1 and 2, you have to talk about the Assassins.
Yes.
Marcel Butler said, I'm a big fan too. Jack Lord said this during this time. He said, I asked him once why he never took off the hood. Even in the dressing room, he told me that you never knew when a door might get opened by mistake, so he never took the chance. He always told me that Johnny Walker wasn't a star, but Mr. Wrestling 2 was, and it was up to him to maintain the mystery. I learned so much from him, but treating the business as a business was the most important lesson he taught me. Jack?
Oh, still stand by that statement. Still remember that conversation, too. Boutwell Auditorium in the dressing room.
Dave Mitchell said, I no doubt understand that. I also know that it was best for business all around. It was very important for him. I even said this, and we used to make trips for Wrestling 2. And that man would not take his mask off sometimes 30 minutes down the road.
That's right.
I mean, and you would say, well, we're out of the deal. He says, yeah, but I think somebody might be following us. Yep. And this was back in the Georgia Championship Wrestling days. Because I've told this story before. We were going to start riding with Wrestling 2 to some of the towns, and he brought us into the dressing room in Rome, Georgia, and he told us, you remember this conversation, Rodney? He said, listen, you're going to travel with me, and you don't tell nobody who I am. And if somebody asks you, I'm your uncle, and if you tell anybody, I'm going to whip your tail. And
we believed it too. We wouldn't have done it. We wouldn't have done it anyway. No.
So, but Wrestling 2.
But you know what? I think that was saying you're coming into my inner circle, and what an honor that was to come into his circle like that.
Oh, I enjoyed every trip we ever made with Wrestling 2, with him and Robert and Mike and John Jr. We had some great times.
Olivia was awesome. She was a character. I'm just telling you right now, if you didn't meet Olivia Walker, she was creative, but she was quite the character.
She was. Did you meet her, Jack?
No, I never got the opportunity.
Oh wow.
She was something else.
Classy lady, I'll just tell you.
Her and her sister June was
Yes.
equally a character. When you put them two in a room together, they could have to this day, if we were having reality television,
Yes.
they could have had a great reality television program.
They sure could.
They were together. They were awesome. They were awesome. They'd have you laughing the whole time. Olivia Walker made some of the greatest robes in the history of wrestling. So that whole family was tremendous. Now let me go back and see. Jerry Hart said, "Good wrestler. Watched him with my grandpa when I was little." Everybody loves when you tell them that. So I remember watching you when I was a little kid. Everybody really loves always.
Yeah, I get that.
Everybody really loves that. Johnny Rubberman Walker. He wrestled as that right up to 3 days before he became Mr. Wrestling 2. Actually had a match with Bearcat Brown. He teamed with Bearcat Brown, I believe, against the Novaks, the Bounty Hunters, in Chattanooga, Tennessee. 2 or 3 days later, he's in, I believe, Savannah, Georgia, as Mr. Wrestling 2. So it's not like he had any time off from let's see. Curtis Radar Hall said he was my favorite. No doubt. Franklin Frazier said, I saw him wrestle Harley Race for the NWA title in Chattanooga. It's still one of my favorite memories. 2 won the time expired. I never heard a pop like that. Still gives me goosebumps. Great memories. And I believe we were there in Chattanooga. Was we not there, Rodney?
That was, I believe, the first night Georgia Championship Wrestling actually took Chattanooga over. That was the first night. And the main event was Harley Race against Wrestling 2. The Freebirds were there, I think. Ted DiBiase and Robert Fuller was there as well.
Chris Studert, I believe. Best matches ever was between Wrestling 2 and against Dick Slater, another person who believes that was some great matches.
Yeah.
Amber McCreed said he definitely belongs in the Hall of Fame. One of my all-time favorites from my childhood. Saw him live more times than I can count. Always made me feel special, like I was the most important fan in the world. Wrestling 2, no doubt, had some great feuds. Superstar has to go down as one of his greatest feuds he ever had. And Jack Lord, that was the match. Superstar Wrestling 2 that gave you the inspiration on becoming a professional wrestler. And there's no better inspiration than the Masked Superstar in Wrestling 2. Rodney?
And just to point out, Wrestling 2 is in the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame. He's not in WWE, but we don't count that anyway.
Rodney, any final comments before we get off here?
For me, it's always a pleasure to go back and watch all of his stuff. Even the Mid-South stuff with he and TA are just classic stuff, just beautiful stuff. And many who at the last part of his career were saying, well, no, he was slowing down. No, he never slowed down. He never slowed down. He was still the same, wrestled the same, no matter if it was 76, 86. He was still wrestling exactly the same.
Yep.
Yeah, Wrestling 2, the only wrestler that I can sit there and say was my hero. There was no doubt Wrestling 2 was my hero, the only hero that I had in professional wrestling. I liked a lot of wrestlers, but Wrestling 2 was my hero. If you enjoyed this video, give us the big thumbs up and subscribe to the page and go one step further and hit that notification bell. Until the next video, thank you so much, and we'll see you again right here on Pro Wrestling Inside and Out.